35-40, 35-30, a zigzag to the 20, touchdown at the 18-yard line. The little engine that could just did. In there! Touchdown at that far pylon. He's diving. He's close. Touchdown! Woodhead at the pylon. Is it in? It is! Rivers goes over the middle. Woodhead darting to the end zone. He scores for a fourth time. Touchdown, San Diego. Connect 4.
Oh, gosh. I forgot about it.
Make sure to get all 4 in there. You got it.
That was just strictly for Eric to have to relive it one more time. I'm glad they had the clips of that I could put that out there. But you guys see the man, of course, the man that is the definition of cerebral grit. He's a friend of the show now since we're able to learn back a second time, and he's coming out of nowhere. Of course, if you know his podcast, he's an up-and-coming podcaster and schooling the masses on football, golf, and dad life. Ladies and gentlemen, you know our guy, the man that always makes the number 39 sexy. It is Mr. Danny Woodhead. How's it going, man?
Doing good, man. How are you guys doing? That's the question.
I'm doing good. Seeing Eric upset this early in the morning is always good for me. So
I mean, I love it too.
But I put it out of my head. Me and Danny are on cool level now. I aired it out last time. I thought maybe I'd see the touchdown, but the verbiage or the hearing the fourth touchdown that just brought up all this PTSD.
Man, that brought up some memories that I actually knew how to play football a little bit. Sometimes you forget about that. It's this is gonna be my 4th season out, and it's like, holy crap! I actually
that long already.
I was all right. I wasn't that bad.
This is what I said. I said you kind of look like one of us.
Hey, I'm trying. That's my goal is to not look football-ish at all.
You still work out though, right? We were talking before the show that you're still pumping iron. Maybe we bench closer now. You probably just killed
much
me before.
Closer. I rarely do heavy lifting. So I started doing it last year, and it got to the point where I'd just be super sore. My joints would be more sore, and now I was lifting. I wasn't quite lifting what I was lifting when I played, but I was lifting probably more than just a regular person. And that's probably not healthy for anyone to do if you've done it for however many years and the wear and tear you have on your body. But yeah, I wake up now. It looks completely different. I do about 30 to 40 minutes of cardio, and then I do some sort of lifting, little upper body, little lower body, maybe jump in the sauna, but that's about it.
We're avoiding the dad bod at all costs, right?
Oh, that won't happen.
Oh yeah.
Dad bod won't happen.
Do you go out of the sauna when you're really when you're all right, good workout today? Because I see a couple people that do that, and
No.
I'm like, we know you damn well ain't worked that hard. Where you're
I work out and I go in there drenched.
okay.
So then I just get more drenched, and I don't show anyone, because you're right. You get out and it's did he really work out?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I will never do that.
100%. So there's going to be very little football talk on this show. Being straight up honest about that, but there were a couple of things I wanted to ask you about before we dive into some other fun stuff here. So, you're a good friend of Pardon My Take, obviously one of the best podcasts out there. And I actually saw when you were talking about recently on there about the evolution of the undersized running back, and who can run and catch the ball well. You and Darren Sproles, I feel kind of paved the way for that, for all the people that are doing it now. Obviously, Austin Eckler, who's a friend of the show here as well. I think we're just friends with a lot of Chargers running backs, apparently. Yeah. And then obviously you have Alvin Kamara doing it with the Saints. Kenneth Gainwell was just drafted in this class strictly kind of as a receiver and kind of doing some running back stuff too for the Eagles. So what do you think that you guys bring that the opposing defenses have to plan extra for?
Well, I think more than anything, it's not, this is not because of the position I played. If I was a tight end, if I was a defensive back, which clearly I wasn't, but I would have said the same exact thing, because especially at the professional level, basketball or football, all you're trying to do is get matchups. Like you see in the NBA playoffs, they're just pick and roll because everyone switches everything. They're just trying to get matchups. That's all it is. So that's what you're trying to do as an offensive coordinator. You're just trying to get really good players on sucky players, right? Because or someone that's not as gifted as them. So having a back that can run the ball well, but is also like a receiver, well, what does that do? It changes everything the defense even wants to do. You can't play base personnel unless you're an idiot. I mean, you could, but you're going to be one of the dumber humans in the world to do that. Because it's like, all right, you're going to play base. You're going to play 3-4. You're going to have 2 outside linebackers that are just huge, that are basically pass rushers that aren't going to be pass rushers now because we have no one that's going to cover this slot type person if it's an empty. Like it's just really dumb if you're a defensive coordinator, and there's a great chance you could get fired quickly. But it's just matchups because you're going to have some sort of linebacker on the receiver type running back. And that's just bad ball if you do that. It's a really bad thing if you do that as a defensive coordinator. So it's kind of like a cat and mouse game. The coaches know what's going on once, let's just say myself, because it's a little bit easier to say Danny Woodhead's going in the game just because I don't know every single, pass catching back. But say like a Danny Woodhead's going in the game. Well, they have to decide if they're playing base or sub. If they're playing sub, well, this guy's a running back and he can run the ball. So we have big people. We can put in big people against that. Another example was when we were in New England, we could run 12 personnel with 2 tight ends, or a couple times in San Diego, we could run 12 personnel. Well, that's big people against sub. It's just you have bigger people, big matchups, and a lot of times too, sub linebackers are different too because you're going to sub different linebackers. So, well, it's going to be easier to run the ball. So in New England, it's like, oh, they're sub, we're going to run. Oh, they're base, we're going to throw. So it's just like a cat and mouse game, and you're kind of never right if you're the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because you've seen it evolve so much over the years to where if you don't have your Danny Woodheads on your team, you're losing. You don't have those guys that can play the running back, go split out into the slot and make those mismatches where, hey, you're almost kind of like the easy check down for a quarterback because they know they're going to beat the linebacker, even if they're running like a quick slant or whatever they're going to do, and you're an easy outlet for them. So I think it really does make a ton of sense that you and Sproles kind of paved the way for that.
Well, it's just kind of crazy because you look at some of the bigger backs, and they don't – and people are like, they're a 3-down back. It's like, well, have you watched them? Like, have you watched them, not just run a swing pass? Have you watched them run actual routes? I'm okay with the bigger back. Like, there's a need for that in certain situations. But it's just – the thing is, you're not making the defense cover you.
Mm-hmm.
In the pass game. If I'm a D coordinator and you're going against a big back, now there's some offensive lines that are just unreal and some big backs that are just great. Like Derrick Henry's a great example. He's not a pass catching back, but he's great at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
People say he can catch it. Sure. Anyone can catch it. My little 5-year-old can catch a football. But she's not a 3-down back. Mm-hmm. And that's nothing against Derrick Henry. He's great at what he does. Kind of like the people that do what I did, we're great at it. But the thing is, if I'm a D coordinator, I'm just not letting them run.
Right. You just stack the box.
Hopefully my DBs are pretty solid and their outside receivers aren't unreal.
When you were facing the linebackers, was there like a go-to route that you loved running? Like, was it a wheel route? Was it like, oh, go out wide and run a slant? Like something where you knew that they couldn't defend?
I would say an option route or an angle route. So some people call it a Texas route. It's where you release. And all my routes, I tried to make them look almost identical if you're releasing out. So like a wheel route or a bullet route, depending on where you're at, which team, they call them basically the same. Or even like a flat route. I tried to make every single one of them look identical. So then they never knew. So if I had someone man to man on me, I knew they're not going to cover me on the angle route. And that's even one where you don't even have the option. It's like, I'm just going to sell the wheel route. I'm just going to sell the wheel route, and I'm going to go, because a lot of guys that run an angle route, they cut it too short. And it's like, well, they can cover that. Like, don't run it like that. Run it like some route that you already run all the time, and take off like you're flying, and then just turn it. Say you're going out to the right, just snap a left quick and just come hard left. And it's just, to me, it's impossible to cover if you're in man-to-man. It's impossible. And now, same with like an option route too, but that just wasn't called as much, I didn't feel. Or like so there is also a route that's a true option. A lot of times options just like sit or go out. A true all-way option is you can go anywhere, like right, left, or sit down in the zone. I don't feel like that's really fair. Or even like out of slot, if there's a linebacker on me, I felt like there was no chance if I just had a speed out.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, again, creating unfair mismatches is kind of what the game's turned into. And the only other football question I want to touch on here real quick, we're in the middle of Hard Rocks right now with the Dallas Cowboys, and your boy happened to find this little gem I'm going to play for you. It's like a minute clip.
Danny Woodhead has heard all the pep talks before. Barely 5'9", the running back from Division II Chadron State was once the NCAA's all-time leading rusher.
I blew him up. I mean, he lifted too.
We got a joke in the locker room. If he would have played in the 50s, he'd have been a Hall of Famer. It would have been like, man, LT runs just like Danny Woodhead.
Go Woodhead, go baby, go Woodhead. That way, Danny. Damn Woodhead, man. He went down there and knocked the out of the guy.
I'm my only small, but I have the Division II tag also. So I'm just going to work hard. That's what has gotten me this far already. And hopefully it'll take me further.
All right, so running back, last year we kept 4. We got 3. Is Danny in the discussion now in that 53rd spot?
He is a tough little now. He is. And, he's got some skills. He does. He can run, but at the end of the day, whew.
Now,
Danny, I'm sorry if I ever offended you, all right?
I need to let you take the floor. And I don't know if you've seen that for the first time or it's just bringing back memories. I cut it a little bit, some extra stuff in there, but go ahead.
Yeah. It's, the clip where the fullback was talking about, if in the 50s I would have been the Barry Sanders. It's kind of, I don't want to, it sheds light though too, like on just, it was probably going to be a tough road for me. Let's just be honest. I didn't, and still don't really look like the prototype. I really wasn't that small. Like, if you look at the guys that were in running back rooms, I wasn't that small. It was like a tag. You can think about why maybe, but like I was 5'8". That's not big, but like I was pretty thick. Like there were so many guys, and this was even like first and second and like third down backs that were my size and smaller. Like they were 5'8", maybe 190, 195, or they were 5'7", 200. It was like I was 5'8", depending on the year, anywhere from 197 to 203. And it's like I wasn't that small. And then you get these guys that are 5'11", 205, and it's like it's almost like people don't do math. 5'11", 205 is technically smaller than a 5'8", 203 because, think about it. They're not as thick. And so, yeah, there's certain things like that. I think it's funny that Rex says, he actually kind of has some skills. It's like, come on, Rex. Like, and I don't want to talk about, but like, that sometimes annoys me because like all you have to do, like I don't care about anything else. Maybe just throw on the film or look at the measurables as far as like this, the 40, the 10-yard dash, the vertical, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get to it. I mean, it strikes a chord a little, but that was the way it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a little bit harder for me, and that's okay. But do I think I should have at times? It worked out great for my body. Do I think I could have played more than third downs and change of pace? Yeah. But I mean,
you blew that guy up. You came down the field and you lit the dude up. You're sitting there. You're a great pass catcher out of the backfield. Even with the Jets, this is before you became Danny, what everybody knows.
Yeah.
Like it was there, and they just like under their nose. I don't know. I didn't look at I think they kept Joe McKnight, RIP, over you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know why they didn't keep
Leon Washington, maybe.
I know why they didn't keep me, but yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I don't want to. It's not a sob story. Like I'm really not bitter over it. Did I use it as fuel? Come on, without a doubt. Like, I mean, I always said in my head, like, I mean, everyone that knows me is I'm a faith-based person. So I knew everything was going to work out how it was supposed to, even if I didn't play 10 years. And it did, but I did make it a point, like that year, I was going to do everything I could to make them look so dumb if they cut me. And like, that was my goal. And I was like, let's make them look stupid. And I tried.
I just think it's so disrespectful, his comment of like, oh, this Woodhead guy can kind of play football. Like, it's not like you're trying out for JV in high school. Like,
I know.
You were probably the leading rusher in Division I AA. Like, you're at the NFL. That's such a ridiculous thing to say, in my opinion.
Well, and the thing is, not a lot of people know it. I think I shared it on our pod and a few other deals, but like the thing that was really frustrating to me is when I got released and whatever, they treated me kind of like a charity case. I'm all into 501c3s, nonprofit organizations. I give to those. That's what they treated me like. Like I had no prayer. Like they were the ones like donating to me. And it's like, wait a second. Like I went in, talked to one of the coaches. I don't want to name names because then it'd make him look not as great. But he's like, man, Danny, he goes, it's been awesome to see you kind of just, do your thing and live out your dream. Basically saying you're done. You're never getting an opportunity again. And that struck a chord. It definitely struck a chord. And then there was another guy that said, hey, I'm not saying, but if you wouldn't have done, there's this one play that you didn't do great on. It was on special teams. He goes, maybe you would have been different. And I go, I was a left tackle blocking a 225-pounder that ran a 4.5. I'm on kickoff return for us. I was gonna get blown up. Like you just don't put me in that situation.
Right.
And I remember looking at him and saying, if that's why you guys are cutting me, I go, good. I said, good. I said, good. And he's like, well, no, I'm not saying that. I go, no, good. I said, good. If that's why you're cutting me, I go, that's good. So, I mean, not to be revengeful or like be like, because I'm not. It sounds like, but I'm not like holding a grudge over it. You know what I'm saying? Everything worked out how it was supposed to. But if we're talking like, did it fuel my fire? Man, that first time I played the Jets, I felt like my hair was on fire the whole game. And fortunately, I had a very productive game. And I think the first kickoff of the game, I tackled him inside the 20. I was on kickoff team. And I may or may not have looked over to the sidelines and I felt like my eyes were just glaring into everything. But yeah, like, I don't know. Did it feel disrespectful? Yes. It did. And just even the way they talked about me, without a doubt. But you're going to be disrespected in life. So it's like, it would have been stupid of me to just pout about it. You know, like you're going to be disrespected and you just have to deal with it. And that's kind of just life.
Do you think any part of it plays up with the hard knocks? Like, do coaches like play into that more than they normally do, you think?
Maybe a few, but I mean, I think it's pretty accurate with how they felt about me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, especially after when I got released, talking to a few coaches, I'm like, oh, okay. Like they might have liked me. It's like, because I was 5'8", I guess, which was so stupid because they were raving about someone that was like 5'6" on that team.
There was a clip right after you. They showed that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and there were other guys that were short, and it's like, there are a couple other guys that were 5'9", 185. And it's like, am I that small? You know, like I felt pound for pound like I was okay. So I don't know, man.
Do you think it has to do with any bit, and this is a compliment now that you're older, that you look younger, that the age bias kind of plays into it?
I don't know, man. I think their decision was kind of made. This wasn't the same staff that I was signed by as an undrafted free agent. The same general manager, but not the same coaching staff. Like Eric Mangini was the one that brought me in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, were there some holdovers? Yes. Like the offensive coordinator, a couple other coaches, but it wasn't their decision to bring me in. Just not to point anyone out, but I'm saying like Mangini was the one that wanted me.
So one of the people that I cut out of the clip on purpose, he refers to you as Rudy. And yes. I know I've seen a couple places that you hate being called that.
Yeah.
Is there a backstory reason behind? Like, is it because everybody's supposed to feel like bad for Rudy type of thing? And
yeah, it is. But I mean, and this is nothing against Rudy, right?
Yeah.
But how do I say this nicely? Rudy was not a football player, right?
I mean, that's true.
I mean, he wasn't a football player, so it's like when you say that, you're saying I have zero talent. I can't do anything, and same thing. Like I have no ill will towards Rudy, but like you're not a football player, right? Mm-hmm. You're someone that tried really hard, and you got a chance to get beat up in practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. I felt like, I don't know, it just kind of annoyed me. And then I've heard some not so awesome things about Rudy too. So.
Do you remember which coach it was? You don't have to name their name, but do you remember the coach that said it?
Who was it that said it?
Oh, I have to pull it up. It's in the, I cut it out of the clip. It was like a light skinned black dude. He had I'll pull it up while we're talking.
Yeah, definitely do. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know why. I mean, I have a pretty good idea why people viewed me as that, but not really probably the PC thing to say. But like it is what it is, and it's something that I just had to deal with. I mean, I wasn't going to get a lot of opportunities. I wasn't really going to get much of an opportunity in New York, and that's okay.
Did you do anything petty while David pulls that up? Like
it's actually a guy. It's Henry Ellard.
Oh yeah, and Henry was a great guy, but it's like he still is a great guy. I mean, that's just. I mean, I feel like that's a lazy way to evaluate someone.
Yeah.
I feel like it's super lazy, and I think Henry's unbelievable. But I think it's just a super lazy way to evaluate someone. Like if just watch film, any of the film that they had, and I mean I'm not saying I'm the greatest player of all time, but I believe what happened in New England And I think any coach that wasn't going to be lazy in evaluations would say the New England, because you ask guys I played with, like New England wasn't a surprise. Like that's something I did in practice, but I wasn't going to get an opportunity. That's okay. Like, and I'm not trying to say I was the greatest. I'm just saying, like, I think when we're talking about Rudy, you're talking about the evaluations, it's just like, I had pretty good camps and I had pretty good preseasons, and they just didn't really probably want me around. And that's okay.
Did you do anything petty besides like staring at the sideline? Like if you scored a touchdown against the Jets, did you send them like a football or something and say like, hey, you missed out on?
I think I just used the eyes technique. I mean, and after that, I didn't do a ton after that first game. And then I did have that first game, I had a long reception, and I would have been flagged for taunting.
That's right. With today,
you do the Earl Thomas flick the bird.
I mean, I would have been flagged for taunting without it.
That's hilarious.
I looked at him and I was probably staring at as many coaches as I could. And it's nothing against them, because I'm sure there are some that wanted me around. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. It is what it is. But that's just the competitor in me, Like that's – I go back and people are like, gosh, this guy's holding – I really don't hold any grudges. I don't really care. It's just – I have the competitor in me too, that it's hard not to get motivated by that, right? It's hard not to get motivated by everyone in a certain organization viewing you as not good. So your goal is to make them look dumb. And I think any competitor is like that though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And to be honest, we were talking about a lot of football, but there's something else I want to talk about here. And it's the shirt that you're wearing. It's Cerebral Grit. And I have to know what that is, because I feel dumb for not knowing what it is. And I saw you hashtagging it. It's so dope. So what is Cerebral Grit?
So Cerebral Grit, people are going to be like, man, this guy gets annoyed about everything, right?
They're going to call you a boomer.
Yeah, exactly. When I was in the league, I felt like coaches that may not even know what it is overuse mental toughness. I just thought they did. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of another way to say mental toughness, but it's also, so it's using my humor and just joking around about it. But there's also some realness to it. So cerebral, mental, grit, toughness. It's basically just mental toughness, but a different way to do it. And I also coined it with having a mustache. Because
I see that beauty growing in. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I had it way longer, but it was like when I would eat, like everything would just get all over the mustache.
You're going to let it grow out for November, right?
I do it. No, Cerebral Grit, Eric, is having the mustache without November.
Okay.
That's what
I like that.
Is.
Okay.
The Cerebral Grit is having your cup of coffee, if you normally have creamer, but only have half the amount of creamer.
Wow.
How do you get through that? Cerebral Grit. Right? Okay.
Like, give me another example. I need to adapt it in my life. What's another example?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways. Like, I don't know, you're on the golf course and you have a scuff on your golf ball. To play through it, you got to have a little Cerebral Grit. And so, like, I made it a joke to where it's like, man, things are hard. So, like, the coffee deal. You got to have Cerebral Grit to get through having only a little creamer in your coffee, or a little – I put almond milk in. If you only have a little and it's like, gosh, I don't have enough creamer. Well, you got to have Cerebral Grit. Well, one day we blend our own coffee beans, did the same amount of coffee beans in our pot. Well, the tint of the coffee looked lighter. It's like a little watered down, right? How do you get through it? Cerebral Grit. Like, there's nothing else. It's just you gotta power through.
Danny, I work in sales for my full-time job. Can I use this on the phone? You know how you're gonna get a better return on your investment? Yeah. Cerebral Grit.
Cerebral Grit.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I mean, is it is it dumb, jokey? Yes. But there's also some truth to it too. So like we'll be on the course, and I have a group that I play with all the time, and they'll be like, man, look at this lie. And I'll look at it and I'll be like, yeah, you probably need a little bit of cerebral.
What about, okay, so people chime in and go into the gas station and have to pump your own gas. Because he's a New Jersey guy, I think.
Yes, in New Jersey, you don't pump your own gas, but say you're in Pennsylvania and on a road trip and you're like, oh crap, I got to pump my own gas. That is cerebral grit. We all know that.
I love it.
Right?
So the first one, what about when it's snowing outside, you have to wake up the next morning and clean off your car to get to work or wherever?
No doubt.
Grit, right?
No doubt. Like how else would you get through?
Gosh, I love this.
No, you guys tell me. I have no idea how you'd get through if you don't have any cerebral grit. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a struggle. I'm like thinking how get
a work from home job is the only thing I can think of.
Even though you can go get more water in your pre-workout, but if it's asking for 8 ounces and you accidentally only put in 5 ounces and it's a little like gravelly, you don't get more water. You just push through. You just use your cerebral grit.
That's a lot of cerebral grit you have to do.
Not everyone can do it, guys.
Oh, wait. I got a perfect one, and you'll appreciate this one, Danny. What about when you leave your post-workout drink in the car for 2 or 3 days, and you have to open up that thing?
It's cerebral grit. Otherwise, you can't get through it. Otherwise, I'd just throw it in the trash.
But that wouldn't be cerebral grit. You have to go through.
No, it would be called cerebral fragility. Is what we call it. That's what we call it.
Oh my God, I love that.
Cerebral fragility.
This is how I got to live my life now. I'm a changed man.
I probably need to start selling these shirts.
Is there a place where people can buy them?
So not yet. We just made it, and somehow they didn't get. So I sent it to Pardon My Take. They couldn't find it because they were going to have it for Grit Week. That was the plan.
Yeah.
And then I was going to sell it afterwards. Yeah, we probably will sell it. I mean, are we going to make a ton? Probably not. We're just doing it because, like, how savage is it though to have cerebral grit shirts? And
I would buy one
because this is actually a sketch of me when I wore a headband and had a Fu Manchu. So it's like you also get a really cool picture of me on your shirt. Right?
I'll buy one.
I mean, yeah. Let us know when they.
Yeah. No, it's gonna. We're going to. We were just kind of first giving it to everyone on the pod, and then we sent it out to. We're hoping, Pardon My Take, during Grit Week because that would have been perfect. But yeah, we were just like, yeah, whatever. This is fun, guys. I was just being stupid one day. Like I was just like bored out of my mind, and we were on a road trip, and I was chewing sunflower seeds, and this is cerebral grit. I didn't have a cup to spit it in, but I had a big Ziploc bag. You think that's easy? It's not. Cerebral grit. Well, that day I said mental toughness because I was just like, I don't know, whatever, on Twitter. And then I was like, that's stupid. I was like, that's really dumb. Everyone overuses it. And everyone that uses, not everyone, most of the people that use mental toughness don't even know what the heck mental toughness is. So I was like, I'm coining my own thing. And someone goes, this is the best part, is someone goes, I've never heard of cerebral grit. It's like, yeah, because no one's ever said it. Like, I mean, who would say it? It doesn't, until you hear it and you're like, oh, yeah, that's kind of fire. Before, it's kind of like, I don't know.
Well, I went to your Twitter page and I saw you just like hashtagging cerebral. I was like, all right, this is something that I need to get in the loop of because this is
if you guys don't start using it, will I be offended? Yes.
All right. Get rejected at the bar. Got to go to the next one. That's cerebral grit.
Without a doubt.
Another one. You go to the grocery store and you have to make the 2 trips. I would argue that making it in 1 trip is cerebral grit. I don't know how you feel about that, but
I mean, Alex, I'll tell you what. You get home from the grocery store but have to make 2 trips. Definitely to get back there, to go back there, there's some cerebral grit, but that you have to go back there, there's a little cerebral fragility in that. I don't want to have to I mean, I like where your head's at and thinking about it, but you should never have to make 2 trips.
That's how I live my life by that motto. I'll drop stuff
Cerebral
on the ground.
grit, to be fair, would be you go to the grocery store and you're like, crap, I forgot some stuff, and then you're like, well, I'm not going back. I got to get through this week without those groceries. That's cerebral grit.
No, I love it. So are you talking about this stuff? I was going to bring up your podcast too. So Out of Nowhere podcast, baller move, by the way, that you have your kids introing you guys in. I think that's something that when I have kids one day, I'll have to do for our podcast. But Tom, first of all, do you or Matt run the social media account? The social media account is awesome.
So our producer actually does.
Oh, really?
Yes. But he's so aligned with everything that we do. Like, there was a point when I did, but it got too much. Mm-hmm. And he just does it. But yes, he does a great job. But he basically just thinks of, what would Danny or Matt say? and that's what he does.
We know what you would say now.
Exactly. You know exactly what I'd say. But I appreciate that. He does do a really good job of it. Man, we're having fun. We really are. There's not a lot of we're not trying to impress anyone. We're just trying to speak some sort of truth in at least what we know. Now, that's football. So we're trying to speak truth and honesty, even though it's not really the popular thing to do. But a lot of people do appreciate it. I think a lot of people appreciate just our side or our view. And we kind of do it in everything. We talk about parenting. We talk about, that's not all we do, obviously. We mainly talk about a lot of football, and we kind of call out cerebral fragility, if you want to say that. And just because it's like, there's a lot of common sense stuff that's just, I feel, dumb. And like, we're not afraid to call it out. We're not trying to ruin people. Like, that's not our goal. We're not trying to, because I think there's some people that just try to do that. Like, we don't. We just call out what we see. So if you kind of do something stupid, let's just say like a football player or whatever, or like they do a dumb interview, we're going to call it out. Doesn't mean we don't like you. Like Justin Fields. We don't have anything wrong with Justin Fields. But after the first preseason game to go out and say that everyone just seemed really slow, that's a lie. Because I will tell you this, Indiana linebackers aren't faster than NFL linebackers. You know? Mm-hmm. Nor is Northwestern linebackers. They're just not. So you don't need to say that, because all you're doing is you're setting yourself up poorly, and you're making everyone else look stupid. So like,
he's gonna have a target on his back.
Yes, exactly. Like, great kid, I'm sure, but whoever's on his team, as far as like PR team, probably didn't do a good job. You know, and we just call it out, but it doesn't mean we don't like him, and we're not trying to make him look like a fool. But we're just trying to be honest, because I think there's not a ton of honesty. Like, you look at ESPNs of the world, right? They're told what to say half the time. Mm-hmm. We're not told what to say. And I think that's kind of what it is. We love it, though. We have a lot of fun, and hopefully people listen. Out of Nowhere podcast @On Pod. Check us out if you want.
It's dope.
If you don't, we don't care. But if you want to.
I think the funnest thing to do is to podcast, right? Like, obviously we're doing it now, talking with you. Like, this is like the best.
A normal because then it's not like an interview. A lot of interviews, it's like, okay, we're saying this, this, and this. Podcasting's unreal. I think is one of the best, because it's real. It's not fake.
You get to really know the person rather than just throwing like just questions at them. Like,
an interview is so scripted.
Yeah,
nobody likes that.
No one likes it, because it's not real. It's just fake. And so, like, why would we do it?
I agree. This is going to be the way everybody's interviews from now on. We're just getting ahead of the curve.
So wait, is there a super dad mug?
This is the one that I I don't know. I really don't. We have so many mugs. We have so many coffee mugs. But I saw Super Mom, and it was like the one I grabbed. And I was like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Cerebral Grit, you're not going to get another one.
Yeah, no. And the thing is, like, if a dad can't drink out of a Super Mom, like they're embarrassed to have a mom mug, don't have any Cerebral Grit.
No, absolutely.
Barely any.
Absolutely none.
If you don't have a cabinet full of mugs to the point where they're stacked on top of each other, you don't have Cerebral Grit.
Fair enough. I would agree with that. Without a doubt.
But of course, talking to the legend himself, Danny Woodhead, I want to be respectful of your time. So we got, of course, the triple play rapid fire. I don't remember the first time we did this, but it's hopefully some questions you've never been asked before. And it's going to be some weird answers. So if you're
David,
ready,
I got one at the end if you don't mind.
Yes.
All right. So first one, Cheetos or Doritos?
Oh, Doritos all day. Cool Ranch.
Nice.
Over the spicy sweet chili?
Yeah, I'm a Cool Ranch guy.
All right.
Okay.
Nice.
No, I like that. Cool Ranch is good. Be able to grow a full beard or add 2 inches to your height?
Oh, full beard without a doubt. I don't want
that grizzly beard.
I have no interest in being taller.
You're like the first short person to ever say that.
Yeah, I have absolutely. Everyone always asks, "Hey, what do you think would be different if you were 5'10"? I'm like, I don't know, and I don't care. I love being 5'8". It's like flying Southwest is easy, you know.
You know what we could say to you if we ever see you in person? Be like, "How's the weather up there?" Because I'm 5'7" and Eric's 5'5". So,
see, I wish I was shorter.
You know what I will say? If I can fit in a kid's XL, I save a lot of money on clothes.
There you go.
Without a doubt. Now I can see wanting to be like 5'8". It's not tall still. So like that's just whatever, average. But if you wanted to be 5'11", guys, come on. Being 5'7", 5'5" takes a whole heck of a lot of cerebral grit.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't be more true with that. Honestly, like
what
we have to go through every day. It's like
people don't get it.
All right, would you rather be a chair or a table?
Ooh. I think table because I love food. I don't want just someone's butt cheeks on me all the time.
That's true.
Well, depending on who it is, I guess, but but no, I respect it. I respect that. Fulfill your biggest wish or your biggest regret?
Whew. I mean, I don't really have any regrets, and I feel like I don't want to say I feel like my biggest wish has already been fulfilled, but I mean I got to play in the NFL. That's unreal, and I just really don't regret things. I mean, I'm sure I've made bad choices, but I mean that kind of makes a person too. Just bad things that have happened in your life.
This got deep, but I like it. No, I mean, sure.
I go there.
Do you pull your toilet paper from the bottom or the top?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I might do both.
I do both too.
I
don't think it's weird.
I'm actually pretty sure I do both.
I don't know. There's something that's like soothing about going and pulling it from the downward and rather than on top. It's like extra shoulder muscles that I don't want to use. I don't know.
I could see that, but I think I do that. Just make sure your holder is greased up so then you don't really have to work that hard.
I haven't tried that. Have you ever had it where you pulled it and then the thing falls off? Like the holder isn't like secured? That to me is like the worst.
There's not a thing that's more annoying than that. But like you got to be able to get through it. And we all know how you do that.
Oh yeah. Good old cerebral grit, baby. All right, so talking about your golf game, which to be honest, I actually picked up this summer. I started playing for the first time.
Let's go. I love that.
Game is definitely still a little shaky.
But it's gonna be. I mean, you just started. It's gonna be shaky.
It's cerebral grit to get through this process.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
So if you get to upgrade one part of your golf game, driving, chipping, or putting, what are you upgrading?
I think I'd always upgrade my No, I'd upgrade my like approach shots, like with my irons, because if I do that well, putting's probably my strength right now. So if I do that well, and you put it on the green almost every time, the putting will take care. My putting is good enough that things will be easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say my approach game.
How's your driving? Like, are you able? I still can't. I can drive one 300 yards on a rope, and then my next one is like 50 yards clunking into the ground. Like, are you consistent every single time?
I mean,
driving game.
I'm going to have mishits, but my difference would be if I hit it 300, a bad one would be like 280, 285.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're way.
Like that's where I would be pretty angry, but I'd be like, all right, I can still move on.
I might have to get some lessons from you.
Just practicing. You'll get there. It just takes time.
Am I an addict if I went to the range and hit 200 golf balls last week?
Not an addict at all. You're an addict if you play 4 to 5 times a week, and then on those other days you don't, you go out to the range. Not naming any names.
Oh, that's hilarious. Dude, you don't post too much of your golf guy.
I haven't as much as of late. I probably need to. I think weirdly, I don't know. I think my followers appreciate stuff like that, and I just don't feel like people do. I think it's like I'm an idiot. Like people probably don't really care what's going on in my life, but when I have done stuff, people love it. It's kind of weird.
Gotta give the people what they want, more golf.
I know. I need to.
A couple more for you. Would you rather cuddle a human-sized dog or 100 mini ones?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one, right?
I like that.
I think the human-sized dog, because you probably have a good relationship with that one. I'm not talking about physical relationship. I'm talking about like you probably had that dog, and it's probably listened to you when it's supposed to sit and shake and whatever. Whereas it's hard to control all those mini dogs.
David, that's kind of like what Hank is. He's a human-sized dog.
He doesn't know who Hank is, Eric. You have to
I'm just saying. My ex's dog weighs probably 10 pounds less than I do, and he's about my size. Best cuddler ever. You made the right choice.
I bet so. I love it.
Would you rather not be able to open any closed doors, and they could be locked or unlocked, or not be able to close any open doors?
Oh, gosh. Not be able to close the open doors.
Yeah, because that way at least you can get into where you
That's
want.
What I'm saying. Yeah.
No, that's the right answer. Last one. I'm behind door 1. Tom Brady's behind door 2. One of us gets to be your podcast guest. Who are you picking?
Door 1, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Like Tom's like, I just worked with him every day, right? It's whatever. What, is he going to get me more followers? Sure. I don't know if I want those followers.
Is he better looking than David? Sure. Does he have more followers? Sure. Does he have a gorgeous wife? Yes. Like I don't know if there's one benefit of having me on others.
Guest? No.
Does he have as many tattoos as you? No.
That's true. There we go.
All right. So Danny, my question. I went to your Twitter.
Yeah.
Your heading is still the guy from The Last Dance. Has there been anything in contention to take that over?
So the only thing that I've thought about doing, I just haven't done it yet, is, and I probably will, I'm probably once shirts maybe, I'll probably coin the Cerebral grip.
I was going to ask.
Yes.
That has to be.
That was the only thing that I probably, but how good is the Last Dance Jordan guy? The Last Dance Jordan creepy guy.
He just died this year.
Oh, I heard about that. That sucks.
Yeah.
But that's why he's on my Twitter feed.
I remember last time you were like, I can't find anything more ridiculous than that.
Yeah. And Cerebral grit's kind of up there. And I think people need to wake up to it a little bit. There's way too, and let's be real though. Real talk, there's too much cerebral fragility out there. Is that not true?
No, you're right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I was wrong, but I'm not.
Danny, I will be very disappointed in you if by, let's say, the end of the weekend, I don't see Cerebral Grit
it'll be up there
as your header.
It'll be up there. I will be very disappointed if you guys aren't hashtagging it.
Let me tell you, David's birthday is in October. I know what I'm getting him for a birthday present.
Without a doubt.
You know what? My wedding is in 2 weeks, so I'll be wearing a Cerebral Grit shirt under my tux.
It would be super odd if you didn't. It would be super odd.
I need to make like a custom one just since I know they won't be ready yet. So I'll have to like get a white tee and just write it on there. And then where we go on the dance floor.
Just write it on there. Or you don't even, or just write it on your wrist, or like just to remind yourself, don't be a loser, right?
David, would your fiance kill me if after my best man speech I said hashtag Cerebral Grit?
Yeah, that might be a cerebral fragility move.
I don't know, because her being mad at you getting through that is super gritty. Super gritty. And it's like you have to deal with it the rest of the night, deal with it the rest of your life. Like, I kind of ruined it a little. So, like, her being mad at you is pretty nuts.
The amount of cerebral grit that it's going to take for her, she's going to light me like a Christmas tree. After she's like, you told me your brother was going to say, not be weird. He was going to say it normally. Like, I would be dead. But you know what? I can't hate it. So as long as the rest of the speech is okay, I will endure it.
Have her listen to this and then just kind of just be like, hey, listen to the last 5 minutes of the pod. And then she listens to it and just kind of look at her like facial features. Like if it's smiling, if it's anger, then you'll know. It's like, all right, Eric, you can do it. She kind of smiled at it. But that's how you know.
Oh man, well, I'm gonna try to live the rest of my life with cerebral grit. And on that note, Danny, we always appreciate your time, man. One of our favorite guys we've ever had on this show. Thanks so much for coming back on. It was a ton of fun.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, guys.
Make sure tell everybody what you're doing. Obviously, tell them about your podcast, the Out of Nowhere Pod. Tell them anything else that you want people to check out.
Check our Twitter, Instagram. It's just at OON Pod. You can follow us. Hopefully you enjoy the pod. You can listen to it on any podcast carriers. I don't know. It's if you don't get offended, listen. If you do, listen and then stop listening because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm offended and this sucks. And then if you just don't want to listen, we don't care. But hopefully we have something to brighten your day a little bit because it's a lot of fun. So check us out there. Check out if you have any interest in Cerebral Grit shirts, let us know because then we'll start selling them. I mean, we probably will sell them anyways, but it just might expedite the process.
You got to make sure you make the announcement public because we'll make sure we like retweet it and put it out there too.
Without a doubt, I will.
We'll be the first 2 customers.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So
you're the man, Danny. Appreciate you again. Everybody that watches Triple Play Fantasy, however you consume the content, watching, listening, we truly appreciate you guys each and every single week. Of course, we'll be back doing something next week. I don't know what, but until then, we're going to make like a bread truck and haul these buns. Catch you guys